the Financial Freedom Now show. Today I've got with me a guest. My name is Toyin Ayandare, your usual host on the Financial Freedom Now show. But today I've got a special guest by name
Tobi Ayandare.
Tobi Ayandare. I did have him say his name purely because he's no stranger to the vision here at Financial Freedom Now. Tobi Ayandare is my husband, as well as my business partner. So we run Icon Range together, where we specialize majorly in property development, property investment, property education, helping people achieve financial freedom now. One of the reasons why you have this lovely show. By the way, can I take a minute to thank you all for your support on all of our previous shows. So if you've not watched or listened, then please make sure you sort of go through your usual channels and listen to our previous shows. But today we are talking about something entirely interesting, and something that was born after something that we have experienced. I keep saying something. Let's go right into it. It is succeeding against all odds. Well, I don't think we'll just term it against all odds. What I said to Tobi was we're going to be talking about against all odds. But so it could be succeeding, it could be persevering, it could be anything. But it is talking about against all odds. Now, Tobi, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on at such short notice. Privileges of having your husband coming on the show. You don't need to give too much notice, right? Thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate it. We just wanted to tap into the wealth of wisdom that you've got, and trying to pick your brains on what it means to succeed against all odds. But before we start, I think I'll give you an opportunity to introduce yourself. For those that do not know you, who is Tobi Ayandare? What's he all about?
Oh, thank you very much, Tony, for having me on the Financial Freedom Now show. Awesome. And yeah, like I said earlier, my name is Tobi Ayandare, and in terms of who I am, I'm a property developer working alongside Toyin on Icon Range, and Tony probably sort of explained lots of the things that we do, ranging from development to education, and to helping people have great financial freedom that they so desire. In a nutshell, that is who I am, and that is what I do.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So, against all odds, what's the first thing that struck you when I said to you we'll be talking about against all odds? What's the very first thing that that sprung to mind?
I think it basically almost defines or defined pretty much how we've been able to achieve the success that we've achieved over the years. Basically, it's been against all odds. So it's almost more or less like a summary of everything, really, in terms of how we've gotten to where we are, and even thinking of where we're actually going as well. So it's basically against all odds. Absolutely.
And guess what? We didn't talk about this before, and I didn't. I just told him topic. I didn't want to discuss it at all. I wanted you to get the very genuine conversation that we would have about this topic. And along the same lines of what Tobi's just talked about, I also was thinking, you know what, our lives, our testimony, our story has really been against all odds. So it would be nice to sort of deep dive and get right
without
into it.
any sort of preparation.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you're always prepared.
Okay.
Yeah, always prepared.
Let's go for it.
Okay, so So can you give us a little bit more? Because you mentioned something starting off to saying that our life has been against all odds. What does that really mean for our audience thinking, okay, you've done well so far. I know you have got great plans. I hope you do. We've got great plans, but so far, what does against all odds? What can you take us through your journey and what that actually has meant in terms of how have you experienced that in your journey so far?
Yeah, just trying to think of specific examples of against all odds. I think probably maybe starting off from an educational perspective in terms of my academic background. I'd say, yeah, I had the privilege of going to good and okay schools, I want to term it as that way. But obviously, a lot of things happen along the line that may almost mean that you couldn't sort of achieve the things I set my heart to achieve. But I think one of the key things over the years has been the ability to not give up despite all challenges that could have been that was facing me even at those various points and positions in my life and my career so far. I think I would say that's been a clear definition of being against all odds in the progress that I have been able to sort of achieve personally in my personal growth and also with Icon Range as a property company.
Okay. Yes, I think I know you're warming up. We need to get deep. We give facts on the show, right? We give. Can you share a recent example of a situation you've been through where it would have been easier to give up? It would have been more comfortable to give up, but you decided to persevere or go through. Or and even if you didn't, what exactly did that mean? What can you share, like a vivid example? Because I just want us, I want our audience to be able to resonate with what we're speaking about here.
Yeah, I'd say a clear example was pretty much much recently regarding one of our projects. I'd say much recently one of our projects, which was just not such a big project, just developing an existing building, gotten a new build, 2 apartments from that property, and obviously a lot of challenges along the way. I had to change builders at some point due to one reason or the other, and basically throughout that process, even more recently, it all seemed as though we weren't going to achieve the set targets that we got ourselves in terms of the GDV that we're looking to achieve on that particular project. And I could remember pretty much literally a night before the valuation was due, and you really don't want to see those pictures. If you've had a opportunity of showing the pictures of what the property looked like the night before the valuation, but we set our heart and basically said, no, we can't not move this valuation any further out, because that could mean consequences that we weren't prepared to sort of face at that point in time. And basically it was all hands on deck, sleepless nights, and eventually valuation happened the following day. And I'll say that's a typical definition of against all odds, because it would have been easier to basically ring up and say, oh, sorry, we can't have this valuation tomorrow. Can we have this pushed out? And we could have possibly by now still pushing that out. But against all odds in that definition of that example was finding a way, irrespective of whatever was going on and however that way could be found. And eventually the valuation happened and got the results even better than the results that we're expecting on that particular project. So I'd say that's a very recent example if I was sort of trying to relate it to the business. I'll try and look for personal examples along the line that I can remember.
Well, good. Thank you very much. And I think for anyone listening, you may be thinking, okay, so yeah, Tobi's just shared a typical example of what he's experienced recently, or rather what we have experienced recently from one of our projects, and how it would have been easier to sort of give up or move the goalpost again, purely because obviously it seems like we were probably not accountable to ourselves or to anyone else but ourselves, or whatever reason. It just going against all odds meant it was the uncomfortable thing to do. But I think why I want us to highlight this is because in our pursuit for financial freedom, the truth is it's not always going to be rosy. It's not always going to be easy. It's not always going to be a given. There's going to be crushing through challenges. There's going to be against all odds. But there's got to be that commitment from yourself to achieve financial freedom, commitment from yourself to achieve whatever it is that you've set yourself to whatever goals you've set yourself to do. There's got to be that desire and you wanting to persevere, come what may. I think for me, what against all odds means is come what may. I always say that when I'm setting my goals, when I have my vision board or whatever it is that I'm looking to do, that there is an underlying thoughts behind the goals I set. right? And so if I have an underlying thought, whatever it is that's inspired that thought process, or why you actually want to achieve that thing. So for I don't know for you, if you've decided that you've come on this journey with myself, Toyin and Ayandare, and you've been hearing me for a few months, few weeks now about financial freedom, how you can get your get in on the path to how you can achieve your financial freedom, how you can achieve your financial independence. And you've always thought, okay, I've set these goals, this is the desires, this is what I want to achieve. How do I go about doing it? Because obviously, what I do not want to let our audience think is it's all easy. You just wake up, just as long as you planned it.
It was very easy, yeah.
Absolutely. Because sometimes people think, oh well, as long as I've got my head screwed on now, I've desired this, I've planned it, everything goes easy from then on. Trust me, it was that way for us for a very few years, and then we hit some major, strong stumbling blocks, and then you realize that you need to persevere.
Yeah, and I think it's just coming to me in the fact that it's a proof of growth, really. When those moments come, and sometimes those moments seem really prolonged, and it's those times when it's really prolonged, you begin to ask yourself those questions: oh, really? Why am I actually really doing this? I could lead an easier, quote and unquote, life and still be comfortable in some regard. So why am I doing all of this? But I think a lot of the things that sort of kept me going is the fact that what exactly was the reason why we decided to do this? And I think that, I know that is one key factor. If that reason, if the why of what you're doing is not solid or built strongly enough, then it's very easy to give up along the way, because really you could find so many other options. So I think in those moments, it's either option A or option A. There is no option B in those circumstances. And like Toyin did say, yeah, it's not always, and moments you literally almost want to cover your head in your blanket and just don't want to wake up on time. Yeah, not that you want to die, really, but I just don't want to face this challenge. Or you're just literally looking forward to the weekend because, you know, maybe it's the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, a lot of businesses are not open. You have less challenges, less emails to deal with, and less requests coming through and all that. But hey, Monday's around the corner, and then Monday comes, you know, yes, I've got to get up and face this again. And I think it's those moments of understanding the fact that, yes, challenges are the reason, are actually what molds and helps us grow. And like you said, yeah, starting off early, especially in our property development business, first few deals when you like rosy, easier deals, and you don't maybe literally in a matter of weeks you're in and out and all that, and then you begin to do maybe quote and unquote the complex deals, and then sometimes simpler deals then become a bit more complex and taking longer time, and you think, wow, I'm beginning to lose money now because it's taking a longer time than I planned and everything like that. And it's those moments, I think, when we took that decision that we wanted to grow, when we took that decision that we wanted to how do I put this now, grow the portfolio and expand, and not just do the odd one or two properties a year. That is when we began to experience those massive challenges that meant, against all odds,
but also massive profits.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like that, the bigger the risk, the potential option of getting bigger returns, and I'll never trade that for anything else. And I think it's just that fact, you know, I'm not going to trade this to play small. So my one of my biggest motto is you either go big or you go home. So if you're going to do it, you do it well, or you choose not to do it and just play small, because playing small is really not an option. Yeah.
So you see what I said about we wanted to tap into the wealth of wisdom right there? Absolutely, that's a masterclass in itself on your mindset. I'm making a decision to actually play big, not play small, go big or go home. Yeah. And that's really exactly what you said there. There was a time and that we decided, you know what, financial freedom, financial independence, being able to take charge of our finances, we didn't want to limit it to just our needs. We wanted to think big. We wanted to do something out of the norm. We wanted to leave footprints in the sand of time. And so for us, it was a decision. But making that decision, there was a knowledge, and it's a knowledge that keeps growing. I'll be very honest. There was a knowledge that, you know, things are now not going to always be within our comfort zone. We're going to have to do things that we are uncomfortable with. We're going to have to experience challenges that we never thought possible. And some of them, like you rightly said, it's really big, and you just think you at those times you need to remind yourself why you're doing this. Why are you taking on all of the quote and unquote stress? Why don't you just pick up a 9 to 5 and then get paid by someone else, and then they have to sort of think about that? But you go back to your why. And when you were speaking, whilst you're speaking, one of the things I remembered, I was speaking to one of our mentees, who is on our property mastermind, where we actually had old our mentees in building a property portfolio, pretty much replicating the things that we've done, from going from pretty much 0 properties or having no property portfolio to be able to build multiple properties within their portfolio. And I was speaking to one of the young man who is on the program alongside his wife, and I was saying, you know what, I look back at what you've achieved, and I'm like, I'm super proud, because only last year they were able to buy 4 properties as well as an residential property, and I happen to, because they've been working with us, and I happen to know what they achieved the year before, and made me think, you know what, that you never know what you've got in there. It's that elasticity. I was like, I'm super proud, because I know they're not naturally those that would go out of your comfort zone. They're satisfied, they were comfortable, so they didn't need to do that. But there was that, I mean, they came on the retreat, and then came on the mastermind, and obviously there was a decision at some point that they wanted to stretch, they wanted to grow, and it wasn't easy, because I remember one of those meetings, and there's that, are you sure, why have I done this, and all of that. And I just smiled. I was like, I'm really proud of the things that you've achieved, and you're still achieving, because they're currently doing a massive development on their property. And he said, it's funny you mentioned this, because I was just talking to my wife yesterday about this, and she was saying, you know, maybe after this year, because they had back-to-back years of stretching, that maybe we would rest. And he said, you know what, we will not, because if we could do year 1, year 2, we stretch, we come out of it, and each time we come out of it, we're like, you know what, we literally progressed and succeeded against all odds. Things meant that we couldn't actually succeed. Yeah,
you just realize how much of a capacity you have to continue to do more. And I think it's until you sort of exercise that muscle of knowing that I can do more, then you just literally stay in the current situation or position you are. And while you were speaking, one of the things that just came to my mind was on the fact that, yes, against all odds sometimes could actually mean leading the way, or you actually charting a path or a course that no one else around you, or maybe not so many people around you that maybe look like you, speak like you, maybe have similar experiences like you growing up, have gone. And you going against all odds would be you literally taking the lead in that situation. And boy, I don't know how to say that. In a lot of ways, that's been some of the things that we've managed to do and experience. That so many things that we never saw around us, that we never saw so many people around us doing. Having that boldness, having that courage to attempt those things, even with the potential of failure. Yeah, because there is a potential of failure and there's a potential of success. But against those two options, knowing that I'm still going to chart this course, I'm still going to lead the path in this direction. And this I read recently Michelle Obama's book, and thinking about some of the things she mentioned in that book made me realize the fact that when we come out of our comfort zone, against all odds, we give a lot of other people the permission to dream. We give them the permission to go explore and actually achieve the dreams they have in their heart, because they've seen someone do it. Then it gives them that permission to say, okay, actually, maybe I can also do this. And that's one of the key things, doing things against all odds, that personally to me is
one of the things I just thought about there is how is it possible that he's quoting Michelle Obama? That's my mantra. I always talk about he's not quoting me, he's quoting Obama. I think yeah, absolutely. I think just we're wrapping up the story. I was talking about one of our mentees now. I think one of the things that he said that struck me was like, he said to his wife, I said, when she said we're going to rest, we're not going to rest. The mere fact that we've been able to test ourselves, stretch ourselves for year one, year two, the truth is we've enjoyed the benefit of it, and we've actually seen what it is, what it has meant for us to succeed against all odds. And so in year three, I'm not going to want to just sit and do nothing. I would want to enjoy and do that again. So I think for me, that really made me think, actually, what are the major benefits? And I think you were alluding to that fact earlier, where you said about when you do it, when you stretch yourself, you see the elasticity there. Does that then make you want to do more? Or at what point do you then stop? Because do you want to keep going against challenges? Because I know we say against all odds. I think there is a resolution at some point, right?
Yeah.
When do you check back with yourself to say, okay, it's enough, or I've done enough, or how do you do a review process? I just want to, because I know I would keep, if I could, I'll just keep talking to you. So I want to start bringing this to a close. When do you do a review? Because obviously we talk about a decision points when you decide this is a path you take. At what points? I mean, just to give you like a framework, what sort of reviews do you then do? And at what point do you say it's enough?
Yeah, I think the question of it's enough. It's a lot of people ask that question, especially when it comes to from a financial perspective and wealth creation point of view. I think it's enough. It's going to be different for everyone, and a lot of it is going to be defined by we talked earlier on about the reasons why you're doing what you're doing. And if your vision, if your dream is bigger than yourself, is bigger than your family, then it's almost like it's never enough, really. Yeah, because at that point you're considering, you're thinking a lot of the legacy that you can create, not just for yourself, not just for your family, but for a generation, for a community. You're beginning to think beyond your personal self, and you're beginning to think the impact you can make in your local community, and then pulling that far apart from one region to the other. And I think that's one of the key things when you're going against all odds, is to have that checkpoint to say, as long as I'm not at a point of death and I'm killing myself to the point at which I'm just driving myself for the material gain. Yes, the material gain is good, because the material gain helps you, gives you that freedom, like we're talking about. Really, is that freedom of choice, the freedom of time. But where, as long as it's not damaging to your health and you're not at the point of killing yourself, then you still have the capacity to do more. Then nothing should stop you from